Caleb Bush, MD of George P. Johnson here in Australia, New Zealand. At George P. Johnson, 1,300 team members are dedicated to one goal, creating experiences that change the world and bring brands to life. And then you read someone's CV and you're like, Jesus, I'm feeling like an underachiever. Caleb was 2018 Media Executive of the Year and runner-up MD of the Year in CEO's Magazine's Executive of the Year Awards, and named among Campaign Asia's 40 under 40, has led GPJ to being named ANZ's most innovative companies to the AFR, Campaign Asia's Experiential Marketing Agency of the Year, ANZ, and most recently Mumbrella's Experiential Agency of the Year in 2019. They're all very impressive achievements. So please join me in welcoming Caleb, who's going to tell us about humanising your brand experience.
Lost this one as well. Can you hear me? Yes. Clearly from an agency, given the bio, a lot of self-promotion there. Apologies. I probably should have done the same thing as you, Jason, reread that. I feel like I'm kind of a bit of a fraud here, back at the scene of the crime. I started my marketing life as a nightclub promoter, and I've seen a couple of people here that, Jason, in about 2002, and sort of full circle after 5 years of promoting nightclubs here and on Oxford Street and in King's Cross. It's great that there's so much conversation happening about the nighttime economy. It's just fantastic. So humanising your brand experience. I work for a business called Project Worldwide, and one of our agencies is called George P. Johnson. We try and help corporate companies, find their soul and bring their events and activations to their public audiences. And so 30 agencies across the world, 60 offices and 2,500 employees. It's a 100-year-old business. George P. Johnson, who was a real dude, started a business in 1914, the same year as Henry Ford created the Model T on the Great Lakes of Detroit, Michigan. And from there, the business has grown globally to work with the IBMs and the Googles and the Amazons of this world to bring their events and activations and brand stories to life. And there's an example that I'll sort of take you through today that's a little bit relevant to the hospitality industry. So 100 years young, token image of one of our events. And the reason that we're sort of talking about 100 years old is, 100 years ago, events pretty much didn't have anything to do with the digital economy. And what we're seeing now is a lot of integration between the digital world and the physical. And really that kind of relevance is, the experience economy. And the CMO today spends about 25% of their overall marketing budget in the live experiential space. And I think one of the things that we're seeing is that the connectedness that all we have, and I can see multiple people on their phones at the moment, probably relevant to my speaking capabilities, but also that, it's so easy and so natural for us to be connected to our phone, and the Ubers and the Airbnbs of this world have made those digital experiences so seamless that when we go into the live experiences or into a bar or a venue or a restaurant or an event, if that experience isn't as seamless or as well connected, people tend to walk away from it really quickly. And when you start to think about the overall brand experience, you can lose face really quickly in the live element because the digital environment is creating such an amazing experience for the customer. So off the back of that, we talk a lot about not all experiences are created equal. And what I mean by that is that if you, from the experience of getting your coffee every morning to the, waiting on a call center, to that live emotive feeling that you might get when you walk into this room to a gig, all of those trigger very different emotions within inside you. So trying to connect, the experience map from end to end is becoming really, really critical for corporate brands, particularly as they compete, in this new space. Everyone is aware of In-N-Out Burger. We produce an event for them every single year that happens in every single market all over the world. And this event is run on a very lean budget, and it's sort of like a pop-up restaurant. And I'm sure that most of you might have hopefully seen, a pop-up occur here in Sydney. And really that's for one main reason, is that's to drive your consideration set that next time you get on a flight and go to hopefully LA or wherever it might be on the west coast of the US where In-N-Out Burger is located, that you consider In-N-Out Burger, or hopefully you've seen the social buzz and you put it on your list, because it's not only just a juicy, delicious, tasty burger, it's actually got some real social credibility if you can go there and snap a selfie or steal a straw or share it with your friends. So we placed this ad in the Wentworth Courier at the night before the pop-up event. It's a very small piece of advertising. It costs us about $150, and it promotes In-N-Out Burger at Little Darling, just around the corner here. And it runs from 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. and the result is this. It's picked up on social within minutes. It's shared between friends. Most media publications will run a story about it, and it's the power of that brand creates phenomenal opportunity for people to be able to buy into it, and unfortunately have to line up in a queue for only 400 burgers. Now, for us, that means importing cheese from the US and the secret sauce, taking the burger or the patty recipe and working with a local butcher, creating the bread, and then actually one person has the amazing job of flying around the world and getting to put on every single one of these events. And he's there to qualify the tomato, and make sure that the burgers are put together exactly precisely the way that you will get to experience it if you went to In-N-Out in North America. And sort of, thinking about Atlas or Four Pillars Gin, about from craft, it's about creating something that is almost like the real thing, but it's so highly spec'd that you can kind of, put yourself in and out anywhere in North America and have that experience here locally. The results for In-N-Out are phenomenal. It is, from a $150 ad placement, maybe a venue rental, which frankly isn't significant because the promotion that the venue is getting from, all the media buzz, it goes viral, and it's a phenomenal event. And so, as an agency, we spend a lot of time thinking about how we want to craft that experience and how we want to curate it on behalf of the client. We know that the social credibility in In-N-Out Burger, the FOMO from the millennial audience who is most likely going to line up and attend this, means that we can do something so insignificant by placing such a small ad that's going to have such a large impact. So it's not always about having a big budget, or it's not always about but it's about thinking about the audience really cleverly and thinking about a way that you can connect with them. I actually don't know why that slide was in there. One of the things we talk about every single day is creating thousands of individual experiences, not one experience for thousands. I think it's really important. There's a lot of discussion today from an amazing panelists and everyone else that it's really critical that we start to think of every single individual that we're talking to, and not trying to put on mass sort of participation events. And you're seeing that, with the ability to use data and insights and have a better understanding of audiences, you're able to craft really highly curated experiences. And I think that's becoming kind of where it's sort of the new normal. I don't think anymore, if you're just putting out a major publication, or you're seeing a decline in mainstream media spend from advertising, and people are getting back into the fact that you can create these beautiful live curated experiences for people that actually are able to touch them. One of the things that I think is also really critical is trying to understand what your purpose is in terms of from a brand perspective. For us, it's sort of like, if profit, if we weren't working for the profit, why does our brand exist, or why are we doing what we're doing? And that's both from an internal culture perspective, but also from the audience that you're trying to bring into, whether it's your venue or your event. So that's something that, if you can kind of get granular on that, it's going to be hugely important to your business. And then the last bit of from me, thank you, is the connect all those little pieces together. I think if you can find a way to look at the strategy from end to end, from what is the absolute first touch point that your customer might have with your brand, all the way through to, that last touch point, whether it be media or social or a follow-up, and think about crafting that experience to be almost replicated the whole way along so that the message is continuous. You're going to have a much better impact along the journey. So thank you.